In ancient Japan, there was a legend about a city visited by a demon once every 50 years. A single person would become possessed, unleashing mass slaughter and unimaginable terror that left the entire city in fear. Only a few people knew this dark history, and only someone with true courage would ever dare to stop it. The story begins in a city called Shinjo. Inside the residence of a powerful Yakuza boss, bad news arrives. One of his business partners has chosen to work with someone else. Instead of confronting the partner directly, the boss vents his anger on one of his own men, dragging him forward and brutally tearing his mouth apart.
ちゃんと仕事をせえ
At the same time, something far more dangerous is happening outside. One by one, the guards are silently taken down. Blood begins to drip down the windows, and panic spreads through the building. By the time they realize something is wrong, it is already too late. The boss is rushed outside for safety, only to discover his driver is already dead. Then a man appears and begins slaughtering everyone in his path. His name is Sakata, a legendary assassin known as the Demon of Shinjo. He works alone, never fails a mission, and leaves nothing behind. After cutting through the gang members, he faces the boss's personal bodyguard, a massive man with real fighting skill. But strength alone is not enough. Sakata overwhelms him with brutal efficiency, severing his arm without hesitation. He then walks upstairs to face the boss, who is already shaking in fear. This is where everything begins. Welcome to Demon City. However, the moment the boss sees Sakata, all his cruelty disappears. Standing before him is something far more terrifying. With a single strike, Sakata ends his life. As another gangster tries to shoot him from behind, the man is suddenly killed by a shot from behind. The shooter is Akira, Sakata's close friend, and the agent who has handled his jobs for years. This mission was meant to be Sakata's last. He planned to retire and live peacefully with his family. When Sakata returns home, he is greeted by his young daughter and his loving wife. For the first time, everything feels normal. This is the life he always wanted, far away from bloodshed and violence. But peace does not last. While Sakata is away for a moment, masked men storm the house. He fights back, but once his family is taken hostage, he is powerless. Their leader, known as Master, wears a horned demon mask and calmly thanks Sakata for eliminating all the criminal groups in the city. With every threat removed, Shinjo can finally become a safe and peaceful place. But one problem remains: Sakata himself. To secure true peace, he must die. Without mercy, they murder his wife and child, innocent victims who knew nothing. With nothing left to lose, Sakata vows to kill them all one day. But before he can act, he is shot directly in the head.
Sakura
12 years later, the impossible happens. Sakata is still alive. The bullet that struck him that night did not take his life, but it left him permanently paralyzed after grazing the delicate nerves in his brain. The one person most responsible for keeping him alive is Akira. On that tragic night, Akira arrived just in time and rushed him to the hospital. Even after 12 long years with nothing in return, Akira remains loyal. He gives Sakata a modest place to live and hires a caregiver to look after him every day. Now the story shifts to a public press conference led by the mayor of Shinjo, a man named Sunohara. For the past 12 years, he has ruled the city and proudly presents it as a safe, peaceful place to live. He now announces the construction of a luxurious resort filled with entertainment facilities, claiming it will boost the local economy and benefit everyone. During the question session, a bold journalist steps forward and raises concerns about the rising number of missing persons cases during Sunohara's leadership. The mayor reacts with visible irritation and demands proof, forcing the moderator to shut down the discussion. What the public does not know is that the journalist obtained solid information from a former Yakuza member who was paid to reveal the truth. Behind the mayor's clean image lies a terrifying reality, and the journalist is determined to expose it. Before he can do so, a man wearing a red demon mask suddenly appears. He smashes the car window and chases the journalist down, killing him on the spot. Moments later, another man wearing an old man mask forces the former Yakuza member to kneel and places a gun into his mouth, ending the life of the only person who truly knew the mayor's dark secrets. The story then returns to Sakata, who is out for a quiet night walk with his caregiver. Without warning, a man stabs him from behind. It turns out to be the same bodyguard whose arm Sakata severed years earlier. Realizing that Sakata is paralyzed and has lost his memory, the man decides not to take revenge and leaves him lying there. Sakata is rushed to the hospital and placed under police protection to prevent another attack. 2 officers are assigned to guard him. Soon after, a well-known police captain arrives and casually hands the guards some money, telling them to grab food outside so he can speak privately with Sakata. Once alone, the truth is revealed. This captain was one of the masked men who invaded Sakata's home 12 years ago. He was the one wearing the old man mask and was directly involved in the murder of Sakata's family. The moment Sakata realizes this, something inside him awakens. His fingers begin to move, his eyes sharpen, and slowly his body responds again. With great effort, he attacks the captain and manages to strangle him. Not long after that, 2 police officers arrive and are shocked to see the captain wearing a mask. As they help place Sakata back onto the bed, the captain suddenly grabs one of their guns and shoots without hesitation. It turns out that one of those officers is part of his group. A doctor who accidentally witnesses everything from outside is dragged inside and executed on the spot. Overcome by rage, Sakata suddenly rises again while they are off guard. By now, his strength has recovered to nearly 60%. With what little power he has, he uses whatever is around him. He wraps an IV tube around the captain's neck, trying to strangle him. When that fails, he grabs a curtain and manages to tighten it around the captain's throat, finally killing him. After taking down one of the people responsible for his family's murder, Sakata staggers forward in a dazed state. At that moment, Akira arrives to pick him up. The story then shifts to the drug factory owned by the master, managed by his subordinate, who wears a horned demon mask. The master has just learned that Sakata is still alive and may come seeking revenge. He immediately warns the manager and also contacts another subordinate known as the Wolf, who oversees the selection of women brought in from outside the city. The Wolf is also warned that Sakata may be coming for him. Confident and arrogant, the Wolf says he will deal with Sakata himself, even as he is about to take advantage of one of the women. At the same time, the master also contacts another subordinate, Akira. It is revealed that Akira was involved in the massacre of Sakata's family 12 years earlier. He had been paid to expose Sakata's identity and personal information. Everything he did over the past 12 years was driven by guilt for the deaths of Sakata's wife and child. After shooting Sakata from behind, Akira and his assistant transport his body to the factory, following the master's orders. Once they arrive and confirm his identity, they throw Sakata onto a conveyor belt meant to destroy waste. But Sakata is still alive. Fueled by rage, he rises again and begins slaughtering everyone inside the facility. This is only possible because Akira secretly chooses to side with his old friend. However, the factory manager is watching through CCTV and immediately orders the front gate guards to kill Akira and his assistant. When they open fire and approach the vehicle, they are shocked to find that Akira is still alive and fires back at them without hesitation. After Akira is confirmed to still be alive, the focus shifts back to Sakata, who is now moving through the factory in a blind rage, slaughtering every guard in his path with overwhelming brutality. Once the last guard falls, Sakata heads toward the room where the manager usually stays. But the man is no longer inside. Instead, he is already outside, holding a phone and triggering a massive explosion that engulfs the entire building. Believing Sakata to be dead, the manager immediately informs the master of his success. Moments later, Sakata emerges from the flames, wrapped in thick fabric that protected him from the blast. The manager panics and tries to shoot him, but before he can react, a car comes crashing toward him and knocks him to the ground. It is Akira, who slams into him without hesitation. Badly injured and cornered, the manager finally confesses his role in the murder of Sakata's family. Suddenly, his phone rings. The call is from the master himself. As Sakata threatens to kill everyone involved in his family's murder, the master reveals a devastating truth. Sakata's daughter is still alive. For the past 12 years, she has been raised by the Wolf, who pretended to be her real father. The truth cuts even deeper when it is revealed that the master is none other than the respected mayor, Sunahara. Behind his clean public image lies a terrifying secret. After the manager is beaten to death, the story shifts to Sakata's daughter, Rio. Once a small child, she is now a teenager. The wolf plays the role of a caring father, hiding his true intentions, while Rio grows into a skilled archer who has already won multiple competitions. Meanwhile, Sakata visits an old informant to learn the location of the wolf. Without wasting time, he goes straight to the man's home and finds photos of his daughter from childhood to the present. When the wolf suddenly returns, Sakata attacks him in a burst of rage. But the moment Rio appears, she raises her bow and aims directly at Sakata. She does this to protect the man she believes is her real father. Even as Sakata stares into her eyes, unable to move, Rio releases the arrow, striking him. The wolf takes advantage of the moment and pushes Sakata out of a window. As Sakata escapes with the arrow still lodged in his shoulder, the master's enforcer, the Red Demon Mask, appears and takes Rio away as a hostage. While all of this is happening, Sakata receives a call from the master, inviting him to the newly built luxury resort to settle everything once and for all. Instead of going to a clinic, Sakata heads straight to his old hideout from his days as an active assassin. Inside, he finds countless weapons and tools of destruction. Even so, he chooses his favorite curved blade and the leather jacket that has always defined him. When he arrives at the location, Sakata tricks the outer guards by sending in an empty vehicle. While they are distracted, he enters through another path and eliminates them one by one. As he climbs the stairs toward the upper level, dozens of guards continue to swarm him. Another brutal fight breaks out, and Sakata cuts through them all. After clearing the staircase, he moves toward one of the rooms, only to be suddenly attacked by the wolf, who was sent by the master to stop him. The fight does not last long, as the wolf lacks real combat skill. Once the fight ends, a heavily exhausted Sakata heads toward the elevator that leads to the top floor. But once again, enemies appear, forcing him to fight through them with sheer brutality. After taking down nearly 100 men in one continuous rampage, Sakata finally reaches the room where Rio is being held. She looks at him with fear in her eyes. At that moment, the Red Demon Masked Man suddenly appears and attacks Sakata, knocking him unconscious. Once again, Sakata finds himself captured in a position painfully similar to the night his family was slaughtered 12 years ago. As the master threatens to behead Rio, he begins to explain his true intentions. He claims his goal was always to turn Shinjo into the greatest city possible. However, his methods were ruthless. He eliminated corrupt officials without mercy, erased business leaders who refused to cooperate, and used drug money to build the city's infrastructure. Anyone who stood in his way was destroyed. As foretold in the ancient legend, a demon appears in Shinjo every 50 years to bring mass destruction. The master believes that this demon has taken the form of Sakata, the legendary assassin. He wants to be remembered as the man who stopped that demon and saved the city. After finishing his speech, the master raises his blade, ready to kill Rio. Suddenly, the informant appears and opens fire wildly. The chaos mirrors the tragedy from 12 years ago, as Sakata desperately urges his daughter to run. In that moment, Rio's memories return, and she runs toward the informant for safety. With Rio finally safe, Sakata is free to focus on his final revenge. But this time, his opponent is the Red Demon Mask, a fighter far more dangerous than anyone he has faced before. Exhausted and wounded, Sakata struggles as the battle pushes him to his absolute limits. When Sakata finally reaches the point where his body can no longer move, the image of his late wife fills his mind. All the anger he has held back for 12 long years suddenly erupts. With everything he has left, Sakata rises and launches a brutal attack on the Red Demon Mask. As the demon collapses, the master steps forward and removes his mask, revealing that he is actually the twin brother, his face scarred by burns. Without hesitation or grief for his fallen brother, the master puts on his white demon mask and begins fighting Sakata himself. The battle is fierce and merciless. In a shocking moment, Sakata loses his left arm after a clean strike from the master. Even then, Battered and bleeding heavily, he refuses to fall. Summoning the last of his strength, Sakata pushes forward and finally kills the master. Just as Sakata stands victorious, Ryo appears, returning to find her father. But the wolf is still alive. He suddenly shoots Sakata, dropping him to the ground. Still pretending to be a caring father, the wolf tries to win Ryo's trust once more. But Sakata, with the last of his strength, strikes the wolf from behind and pulls Ryo into his arms, holding her the same way he once did when she was a child. Not long after, Sakata takes his final breath in Ryo's embrace. Soon, the authorities arrive and secure the area. The master is seen alive, smiling as he is carried away. 1 year later, he runs in the election once again and successfully becomes mayor for a second term. The truth soon comes out. This man is not the original master, but his twin brother, the one with burned scars along his face, now continuing the mission left behind. Just like his brother before him, he visits the shrine to perform rituals, believing in the same twisted destiny. What he never expects is Ryo's return. Driven by the loss of both her parents, she confronts him. With a single arrow, she ends his life and finally brings the cycle of vengeance to an end. With her revenge complete, Ryo walks away, free at last. So the moral of the story is never trust a guy in a demon mask, never skip leg day if revenge is involved, and maybe do a background check before trusting anyone who says they are your family.